Mediation in succession matters. We call it succession or inheritance. Of course, I'm going to do it with a specific focus on the Kenyan law. It's one of those areas also, succession, one of those areas that is very much part of what you call the court annexed mediation, meaning that it's one of those areas where the court will almost necessarily refer matters to mediation if there are some issues to be sorted out, if there's a dispute in this succession matters. Okay, broadly, there are two ways in which you can deal with succession. Is a case where a person, the deceased person, has written a will. Usually that will go smoother and more specific because the person has already decided on how they want their properties handled after their death. But also, even in that, there can be objections in somebody who thinks they've been left out or they have not been catered for in that will. And then the second way is what we call intestate. In a case where the deceased did not write a will on how his properties or his matters are going to be handled. And of course, I think it's under this area where there can arise many more disputes among the beneficiaries. Then in this, of course, I can't cover everything because it's quite a broad topic. There are two steps when you have matters of that are called intestate. The first step is to apply for what we call a grant of letters of administration. It doesn't mean that the administrators of the estate of the deceased are going to be the beneficiaries. Yeah, it's that they're undertaking to administer, to take care of whatever the deceased left. Yeah, that's where you list down the assets, the liabilities, the beneficiaries of the deceased, and so on and so forth. Yeah. Then the second step is what we call the confirmation of the grant of letters of administration. Basically, what that means or what that covers is that the beneficiaries are going to indicate how the assets of the deceased are going to be shared out among the beneficiaries. And of course, that's an area where there can arise some conflicts or some disputes. So when we talk about mediation in these matters, it's like saying that it's one of those matters that the court will necessarily these days refer to mediation in case of a dispute. And I think it's the best option because the court takes into account that the people on the ground, the beneficiaries, the people involved, are the ones who know better how that estate is and what their interests are. What are the interests of the parties? What would they like done? And that's why we recommend, of course, that even before you go to apply for the confirmation of the grant, that the parties have come to an agreement, yeah, outside the court. Yeah, so whether you have agreed on it before you go to apply for the confirmation of the grant, or whether you just file a confirmation for the grant in court directly, if there's some disagreement, the court will most likely refer you to mediation so that you can talk it over and see whether you can come by way of what you call a consent. And obviously, we know that that would be the best option. Leaving matters of succession to the court really, as we know, as we've observed, it usually leads to a lot of waste of time, waste of money, and worse still, it breaks relationships. It just kills them. Yeah, family relationships are completely broken if you cannot go by way of agreement. And as I said, it saves time and money. We've observed cases where matters have been in court for so long because issues keep coming up, people fighting over this or the other. You keep paying the lawyers, you keep paying to the courts, you keep spending money, I don't know, to defend yourself or to protect, I don't know, whatever interest. Wouldn't it be better if you sat down, talked about it in mediation, get a professional mediator to help you handle that conversation, so that by the time you're going to make the application for confirmation of the grant, parties are in agreement. Yeah. And even if there's one or two small issues that you want the court to decide, then you've narrowed down the issues. And like I said, of more emphasis is that you build relationships, or you retain the relationships, or at least you don't make them worse than probably than they are already. Yeah. So consult a mediator. You can deal with these issues outside the court, and a mediator can help you sort it out long before it gets a little out of hand. Keep up with us, subscribe, and we will keep you informed on more matters on this channel regarding mediation. See you in my next video. Bye.